Hi there, my name is Amelia and I have read some books. So in January I read 8 books, I think over a total of 4,000 pages. I am not entirely sure. Maybe I'll put something up on the screen to correct that if I'm wrong. And I'm going to talk about them now. I'm also going to talk about what I did in terms of writing and watching TV shows, because I started watching TV shows again in my spare time. So the first book that I read, if I can find it in this humongous book pile, was Neverwhere. I actually cheated a little bit with this one. I started it in December, but yeah. So I finished this on the 1st of January and it was very, very good. I gave it 5 stars. It is the story of a guy who finds this girl injured in the street and decides to help her. And by doing that, he is taken into this confusing, mystical and very, very dangerous world of London Below. And I think it's very good. I gave it 5 stars. I made a review on it. You can watch that for my full thoughts on Neverwhere, but I personally really enjoyed it and I think you should read it. So yeah, the second book I read was Good Omens, which I thought I should read since the TV show is coming out very, very soon. And I decided that, this is, it does date itself in some areas because it was written in the 90s, but it's still very good and still very relevant in a lot of areas, which kind of makes me a bit sad, but you know, sometimes that's unavoidable when certain problems have been persisting for literal decades. But yeah, it's a very good book. I gave it 5 stars as well, so this was my second 5-star read of 2019, and I'm very pleased with that. I read it quite quickly, I got through it. I had to, immediately after I finished reading it, I opened it back up again and I started annotating because I desperately wanted to annotate it. And it is a very good book. It is about an angel and a demon trying to stop the apocalypse. I've made a full review. It more discusses the plot than it does my thoughts. So my thoughts are, I love it. It's really good. I will never be able to stop thinking about it. It changed me. So yeah. The third book I read of 2019, American Gods by Neil Gaiman. This is about a guy called Shadow gets out of prison to find that his wife and his best friend have died in a car crash. And while he's travelling home, he meets this other guy called Wednesday, who offers him a job, already knowing somehow that the guy, his friend who had already offered him a job, has died. So it very mysterious at the start. It's kind of a mystery, kind of a thriller, kind of an urban fantasy, very much an urban fantasy. I really love it. It is very intense though, so big, massive trigger warning all over the place. Oh my god. Trigger warning for death, gore, dead things. All the trigger warning. Yeah. The next book on my list that I read this month was Sorcery by Terry Pratchett, which is my... I read this in order, so this was... I don't know at which point in the order this is. I think this was the 4th or the 5th Discworld book. Yeah, this is... No, because Mort was the 4th. So this is the 5th Discworld book I read, and I thought it was okay. I liked the beginning. The beginning was very intriguing. I liked how the beginning doesn't really reads a lot more serious than the rest of the book, and the ending was pretty good. I liked the ending a lot. And yeah, I really enjoyed the beginning and the end. I didn't so much enjoy the entirety of the middle, so that took it down. It would have been 4 or 5 stars, I think, if it had been at the same level as the beginning and the end for the entire story. But it just kind of went off and did its own thing. Like, the plot kind of... It feels like the plot gets distracted. So yeah, it's okay. I gave it 3 stars in the end because I couldn't, considering how much I liked the ending, I couldn't, not give it 3 stars. But yeah, it's an okay book. Another okay book that I read, I'm gonna get out now. So this one was The Inquisition by Taran Matharu. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it is the second in the Summer series. The first one being The Novice. And I really like this series. I read this series during a time where I was having a lot of trouble emotionally, and it was a pretty good comfort read. It was a great distraction. And I decided that I would read, obviously, the second book in the series. It was pretty good, less comforting, a lot more peril, a lot more strange discoveries and plot twists, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It wasn't so much comforting, so it was still an okay book. I also gave that one 3 stars. The next one I read, I believe, was the Aeneid. So the Aeneid, pretty famous. This guy Aeneas, who founds the Roman race, travels to Rome because he has to take his son there, so his son can have kids who are the Alban kings or something. I don't know. It's really it's convoluted Roman backstory. It's the backstory of Rome. So it's basically the aftermath of the War of Troy, part 2. Written by Virgil though, not Homer, because Homer didn't care about Rome. Rome didn't exist then. Well, maybe Rome did. I'm a classicist and I don't know. So, but yeah, it's okay. I cried at the end. I didn't care for the entire rest of the book. I thought that was very boring. Sorry, Virgil. Answer for your crimes, perhaps. You basically plagiarized the entire Iliad and Odyssey. How can you do that? How can you do that? How can you make school children read a 900-line, a 950-line extract every week? Anyway, so then I read Men-at-Arms and Wicca. Wicca by Harmony Nice is an introduction to Wicca, and yeah, it's basically what it says on the tin. I think it's a pretty good overview. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it quite a lot. Reading it was very fun. I really, I learned things about Wicca. Most of the stuff I did already know from watching her YouTube videos, but it was a very nice place, to just keep all the information. So basically what you're paying for is having all the information that she gives in her videos in one place for access at will, which is pretty convenient, yeah. So it is, I got it on Amazon for £4, and this is a hardcover. So it's not extortionate. I think this is perfectly great value for money, really fun read. It's good. It's a good book. I read it. I enjoyed it. Informative, and unlike a lot of books which claim to be guides to something, it doesn't just go, okay, and that's the be-all and end-all, I know everything. At the end it actually recommends further reading, which I think is very helpful. So yeah, I am quite happy with that. And Harmony Nice is a lovely and wonderful human being, and you should go subscribe to her right now if you're interested in Wicca and also in other things. She's just really cool. Men-at-Arms was my 6th Discworld book that I read, and you can see I immediately skipped a bunch of stuff. It's the 15th. I skipped over 10 books. Oh no, just under 10. I don't know how much I skipped. 9 books, I think. Yeah, I skipped a bunch of books to get to this one because I was listening to the podcast Prat Chat, and this was their first book that they were reading, and I thought, oh, I want to listen to the podcast, so I'll just read this one. So I did, and I think it's definitely better than Sorcery. I enjoyed it. I'm saying this a lot. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, 4 stars. There are some moments which are quite uncomfortable and remind me a lot of trash fantasy, but it's like trash fantasy in a fun way, so it's kind of alright. There are some unnecessary, somewhat, comments about boobs, which are like, really? And I didn't know this while reading because I didn't read Guards first, but apparently Carrot is 16 in this, which means some of the things he goes through are a bit, okay, they're a bit strange. But yeah, I really, really liked this. I thought it was pretty good. Putting all the political stuff aside for a second, it was a decent story. The mystery was fun and compelling. I liked Gaspard. That was a fun dog character, a talking dog. And you kind of forget about it too, because he like, the way it's done is like always so natural. So yeah. And also, like, one thing I really love about the Discworld series is it comments on the fact that humans tend to just make, like, they make room for things they don't understand in their brain. Like, for example, if they see death, they don't fully register that that is death that they're seeing. They just don't see. And yeah, I think that's quite pretty good, because I've met people who have literally had experiences with the supernatural who are just like, yeah, but I don't believe in ghosts. And I do it too. It's like, this is so true. It's like this amazing, it's this amazing thing. It's like that one particular aspect of this series is an amazing deconstruction of the way humans think about things we can't understand. We just explain it away. we don't even explain it, we just forget. So yeah, those are the books I read in January. I probably missed some, that's fine. In progress currently, I have Augustus still. Yes, I'm still reading Augustus. I'm that far through, but the notes section is like that much at the end, so, you know. Could do weightlifting with this bad boy. But yeah, really interesting so far. Got to the bit on Augustus's marriage laws. I am possibly unusual for finding that really entertaining to read about, because I just read them and I think, oh, Augustus, you fucking hypocrite. But yeah, he's fun. Oh, Augustus is fun. I enjoy Augustus. I enjoyed that. It's interesting, learning a lot. And I'm also reading SPQR by Mary Beer, and it is pretty good. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm this far through, so yeah. I am getting through this, although I am prioritising that because I am being lent it, so didn't give that back. As for shows that I watch, because I want to start talking about shows that I watch because I watch more shows. I watched Tidying Up with Maria Kondo, which, she owns my heart. I love her so much. Yeah, she's inspiring me to change my life and all that, except I don't have anything to declutter because I'm not a very cluttered person, apart from maybe stationery, but that stationery sparks joy. It sparks joy in my heart and I can't get rid of it. Another show which I really watched, I really watched it, guys. I didn't just no. Another show that I watched was The Dragon Prince, which I didn't expect to like as much as I did. I was recommended by two friends. A lot of things I get from recommendations from friends. So if you want to recommend me stuff, please recommend me good shows. I am always into a good recommendation. It could be my next favourite show. So The Dragon Prince is basically these humans and these elves have been in a war for ages and ages. And they get to the end, and, well, they don't get to the end of the war, but humans are banished to the other side of this continent that they live on. And humans have infertile lands. They're really at disadvantage. It's like a big old racism metaphor, and it doesn't shy away from that aspect either, which I really like. Like, it embraces the fact that it is definitely a metaphor. And I think it's a very good show for that. I really appreciate that it isn't, like, afraid to tackle these themes. It's very complex. Although there is supposed to be grey morality, the elves do come off looking quite like the bad guys in this scenario. It's possibly on purpose, though. They do try to make you pity some of the elves later on, but I didn't really buy it because I hated those characters. But yeah. Those character singular, not characters plural. One of the elf characters is actually really sweet and nice, and I love her. But yeah, also really great representation. There are disabled characters, there are strong female characters, there are characters of colour, and apparently we're going to get some LGBT characters in representation. We already have an LGBT character, but I'm not counting it until it's made explicit in the show. So yeah. For me, it needs to be the kind of thing that you can find out without having to check the author's Twitter. So, like, that's a very book way of saying it, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I found that very interesting. And I didn't scrap entirely my vampire lesbian romance novel. I exchanged it for my fantasy series. So I am now working on the world building for my fantasy series, which is going to be a very long journey, but it means I can put off writing for a very long time, so I'm into that. I've had a massive writer's block. I just didn't know where I was going with Better Days, Better Odds, so I've had to put that to the side for a bit. And I'm now writing something else to see if I can, like, make up the time, the difference, well, you know. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. And it is a fantasy series, very high fantasy. I want to say it's going to be a little bit unconventional, but I can't guarantee that, considering like my influences are like, I read so much fantasy that my influences are going to be exactly the same as everyone else's. There's nothing original about anything in fantasy. Like, everything in fantasy is just fantasy is mostly about the execution, in my opinion, which is why Discworld is like so unique, is because it's executed so differently to any other fantasy series. So yeah, that is what was going on for me in January, and I will update you again at the end of February as to what was going on then, and I will see you all next time. Bye!